Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the choir, it is I, Josh, with fresh hair.
Oh, it's Abby with some old hair.
Oh, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. Well, hello, folks. Happy Sunday. We haven't been on in a little bit. I do apologize. Taking
It's been a busy week. Thanksgiving was fun. Hope you guys had a great one.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've been putting a lot of time and thought and personal perception, perception of oneself, and then the perception of others, how that kind of goes into a lot of things, and we're going to dive into what those things really are. And I mean, it all kind of ties in perfectly in this timing. It's getting to those points where the nights are longer, it's getting darker faster, it's cold, it's a lot of cloudy days.
You're not getting that sunshine.
And a lot of people tend to kind of get a little gloomy or go in through a funk. I know basically everybody that we know went through a funk or is going through a funk at this time.
And especially after the holidays, so keep this in mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. But why do you think that is?
Winter blues. I mean, honestly, I think that it's just because you don't get as much sunshine. You're not outside playing as much. You're not moving. There's not as much going on.
And it's your perceptual view of all. So it gets dark sooner. Then it's dark. Then you get up and it's gloomy and cold. And so you have a perceptual view of gloomy and cold everywhere.
You just want to lay in bed under your covers and that's nice.
Right.
But it also kind of gets you feeling depressed.
And why do you think it gets you feeling depressed?
Because you're not moving. You're not doing things.
And your perceptual view of the outside of being gloomy and cold turns into your internal perceptual view of yourself being gloomy and cold. Yeah. What you view, what you perceive is then, without a doubt, your reality. We see the world as a collection of rather disjointed events and things. That's just baseline. We just do. And so when you see it, identify disjointed however you want, but as you view and as you perceive, then you feel. And that's just one example, because that is your reality. How I look at today is how I'm going to feel about today. How Abby looks at today is how she's going to feel about today. And it's not necessarily going to be the same. It could be. But it's not necessarily going to be the same. Especially, say, after this video, you go off and you do your day. And your day is going to be completely different than my day because of the things you're doing. Doesn't matter if we're under the same, clouds or space or whatever. Her perceptual view of her day is then going to be different because she is experiencing different things. She is perceiving different things than I. So then your day is going to be different. You all following me here? It's your perceptual view of what's happening is going to kind of directly dictate how you feel. Because
Absolutely.
It is then your reality.
You wake up and you're like, it's cold. I don't want to do this.
Right.
Then your day is going to be kind of like a drag, I mean, I try to make myself smile in the morning and be like, hey, it's going to be good. We're going to do this. It'll be great.
Well, yeah, then poses the question, what do you do to kind of get out of that?
Get out of the funk.
Yeah.
Make yourself get out of bed. Take a shower.
Change your environment. Change your perceptual view.
Yep.
Even if you get up in the morning and feel like garbage and you're like, oh my God, today's is going to suck. If you shift your view and instead of telling yourself today's going to suck, start saying, even if you don't believe it, think today's going to be a good day. Even if it gets to the point where you got to look in the mirror and be like, hey, Josh, today's going to be a good day. The more you say it, the more you're going to start believing it because you're then shifting your perception.
Absolutely. And if you make yourself smile, you feel a little bit better than you did before. I've heard that theory and I've tested it and it works.
Exactly right. And so let's dive a little bit into perceptual view of self. How we view ourselves. And there is a difference between view oneself and oneself of other, meaning your view of you, your view of self, and then your view of other, meaning how other people view you. Both have influence of how you feel about yourself or about things in general.
Yeah.
So that's when things like anxiety and depression kind of get into the mix, is when your perceptual view of yourself begins to falter. Say, for instance, you're at work and someone says something about your hair that you didn't like. Then you're going to be self-conscious about your hair, and then you're going to start to believe that you don't like the hair, even though before you went to work you did.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Your perceptual view of yourself changes based off of others' opinions.
Absolutely.
And that's just kind of human nature. But there's a lot about human nature in general.
Yeah.
So then, is here we get a little deep. Who go past all of the self-perceptional view and all this fun stuff. And let's really get into you. You yourself, or you the other, but you. Who are you? I'll let you answer that. You're going to be like, I'm Josh Richter. I'm Jane Doe. I'm John Smith. I'm whoever.
Whoever you are.
I said, no. Who are you really? As Alan Watts says. And again, we're giving all the credit to Alan Watts. Brilliant man. But who are you really? What separates you from everybody else around you? Not only you can really answer that, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult one.
And so when you think about that, then think, what have you left out of what makes you different, what makes you the same? And you're like, what do you mean? What questions are you bearing?
What do you mean, what did I leave out? I don't know.
What did you leave out? And the best answers that really I can come up with that, first of all, the answer to who you really are deep down. That's something that you really have to figure out. And that's the thing to find out. And that is the thing that you have left out when I ask, what are you leaving out? You follow? Does that make sense? And you're all sitting there like, what is he talking about? Every one of us fundamentally is an act of, manifestation of, creation of the works. All of it. The shebang and the wing-wongs, whatever you want to call it. It's the whole blinking cosmos of all of it. And it is all there, constituting a fundamental continuity. It is all there. Mm-hmm. And all of that is which is there, is you.
It is you. And so to put that into perspective a little bit, think about this analogy, okay? So if you're going to a play and or a movie or whatever, and there is the hero and the villain in most situations, right? The good and the bad. And at the end of the movie or the play, the actors come out on stage, or, there's the, list of names at the end of the movie, I don't know. Anyway, so in a play, the actors will come out on stage and bow, and the audience applauds them. Well, they're not applauding the hero or the villain, they're applauding the actors for playing those roles so well. And on a stage, behind the stage, there's the green room or the dressing room, and that's where you hang up your costume, your mask. That's where you get ready before and after the play. And so I believe that there is a green room in the back of your head. And so in life, you are playing all these different characters. There's the good guy, there's the bad guy, there's the funny guy, the in love guy, the in pain, all these different characters that you play. Sometimes you forget that you're playing the character, and you play them so well that it gets jumbled up in your brain of who's who, what's what. But there is this character in the back of your mind that does not wear any of the masks. That is just you in its purest form, without any of the makeup or the costumes. And so asking that question again, who are you really without these masks on? Who is the you in your green room? and that voice in the back of your head can also be whenever you're in a tough situation, you're getting really mad at somebody, and you want to do something about it, but then there's this voice that's like, is it really worth it? Like, do you really need to do that? Like, that's the you with no mask on.
And that mask
talking
of anger.
reason,
Yeah.
right? And so hopefully that put it in a different perspective for you. Maybe you can think about that now, like, okay, yeah, who is this actor playing all these parts?
And that's what we are a lot of times, is actors playing a part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're in a day where we feel like we need to be a certain person consistently. I know for a fact that I am nothing like I was a year ago. You know, I was a different person. I was playing
Absolutely.
a different role. I am now playing a different role. But the only difference between last year and this year is I know that I am indeed playing a role. Now, if that's fact, or if that's the truth, then are we obligated to be anybody?
Mm-mm. Like, there's no specific character that you're supposed to be playing.
So you can play who you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Be who you want to be.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do.
I mean, how often do you find yourself, in the car before you go into work, you're having kind of a tough day, you're like, all right, I got to gather myself, like, let's get this together. You're changing into the character that to go to work, because you do. You have to put on a mask for work, whatever. You got to be that bubbly person. I mean, if you're a server, we're servers, you got to be all smiley and giggly. You got to get those tips.
The term person derives from persona.
Ooh.
And what a persona is an act. It's someone playing a role. It's a persona. So we as persons are therefore individuals playing a role. When I go to work, I play the role as a waiter. When I'm driving a car, I play the role as a car driver with intense road rage. When I'm at home, the second I sit down on that chair, I play the role as a lazy man. But if I am playing the role as a lazy man while I'm at work, I'm not going to work very well.
No.
But I'm playing roles. And the difference is between the fact that everyone's doing this, but the difference is if you kind of realize that and allow your perceptional view to shift.
To acknowledge.
And to be aware that is what you're doing, but behind the scenes, behind all of that acting, all of that play, we are all, in a spiritual sense, very much so connected. It's like the interwoven pieces, how people make those faces or pictures through weaving.
Needlepoint?
Needlepoint.
Yeah, making a beautiful picture out of strings.
We're beautifully interwoven together, and all of it together creates a beautiful picture. But you flip it over, it doesn't look like that picture. In fact, it looks like a jumbled up mess.
Those are the exact words I was going to say. Hey, nice.
And to tie it all together, that jumbled up mess is necessary for that beautiful picture.
Yeah. You show people the front side of this beautiful picture, but never really do you show people the backside.
Right.
The backside has all the shortcuts and all the tricks and all the different things to create that picture.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing to think about, too.
And you tie that into everything, and everyone's like, well, this world is just crazy. It's messy. It's intense. It's a jumbled up mess. But looking at the larger spectrum of things, and to understand that all that jumbled up mess is an in very beautifully interwoven flux of energy and vibrations, and that is us. And then you turn it over and you look at it in a different perspective, and it looks like a beautiful picture. Keyword, perspective. Because perspective is everything. Your perceptional view of anything changes your reality in whole.
So changing your perspective on it, instead of just looking at that beautiful picture, be like, man, that's beautiful. If you think to look at the other side, or just to think, I wonder what you went through or what happened to get this beautiful picture. That's kind of cool.
And we call that necessary evil, that messy part. You know, some people have beautiful, beautiful souls, and then you find out what happened to them in the past, and they've gone through so many things to get there. So how can something that is beautiful derive from something that is so messy?
I love that. I love seeing people who can just be so happy, and then I can't help but just kind of think, like, what did you go through
Probably
to
a
get
lot.
you there?
Probably a lot.
You know? Like, a lot of the happiest people have gone through some dark things and some hard things, and it's beautiful how they were able to pull themselves out and be so happy and positive, because, I mean, to see the lightest light, you have to walk through the darkest dark.
Exactly, because I was going to ask why you think that is. And it's because the experiences that you go through, you're not going to be able to experience happiness unless you know what fear is, or pain or anything like that. I know we've talked about that in previous videos, but that's the necessary evil. And
there's a lot of different necessary evils in life. Things that you don't necessarily want to deal with.
Right.
Things that you don't want. I mean, and in the whole scheme, I mean, you can, let's see. You can think of it like it's a game. You can think of life as a game. You are characters playing a game.
Life is a game.
It is a game, absolutely. And I mean, how great do you think that life would be if you could know the answers? And if you could see every move and you knew what was going to happen and you could pick what was going on?
If you knew the future and can control it perfectly,
There you go.
what would you do? Now, at first, I'm sure you think, that'd be pretty cool.
It'd be nice.
If I could control the future and knew it perfectly. But really think about it. It'd get boring. Like, I already know what's going to happen.
You know how it's going to turn out. You know the ending point.
There's no element of surprise. There's no hide.
Right. And we as humans need some sort of hide or element of surprise. You don't want to be completely see-through.
It is in our human nature to have kind of conflict or have some kind of mystery, some romantic, some love, the feeling of losing that love. It's everything that is consisted in what we would consider a beautiful story is kind of what we want in ours, right? So if you already knew how your future was going to lay out,
would you try as hard?
No, absolutely wouldn't. I wouldn't even let you answer that. You absolutely wouldn't.
No.
You already know what's going to happen. It'd be boring. You would be like, another day, another day. I already know what's going to happen. But we now live in a day where we're like, what's going to happen today?
Every day is a new day. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. If you are, there are still different things about the day.
So Abby said life is a game. Let's dive into that for a second. If life is a game, or if you view life as a game, think of it, if you're going to get a game, it's kind of the same analogy. If you're going to get a game and you already know how that game's going to end before you buy the game, would you want to play the game?
If you're playing a game with another player, that is also, if you're both good at the game, and you're playing and you start playing and you're like, ah, man, I know this person is going to win
Every time.
in 10 moves and there's nothing I can do about it. Would you keep playing the game or would you start over? You don't want to know. And that's the beauty in life. You know, you got challenges and you have things that's going to push you back, pull you back, push you over, whatever. But it's good. That's the necessary evil. You need that in your life, because without that, you're not going to grow. You're not going to be as strong. Like, I know for a fact, like, I mean, I've gone through things and it's hard and it hurts. But then you get out of it on the other side and you're just like, ah, man, if I could go through that, like, I can go through anything. Like, come on, life, show me what you got. Like, let's go. Let's tango.
So if necessary life is on, or necessary evil is on one side, the flip of that would be experience, knowledge gained. And that's what you get out of those experiences that aren't necessarily comfortable. But once you get through that experience, you get the necessary knowledge gained through that experience. It's just like the game. It's just like any kind of game. Mm-hmm. You need to do this to unlock this.
You can't just skip from level 5 to level 15 and be fantastic at it.
So in your game that we call life, it is necessary to go through experiences, good or bad, to learn and to have character growth, self-growth, self-confidence growth, all of it. And so there's two ways to view it in your perceptional view. You can view it as, ooh, this sucks. I'm not going to get anything out of it. I just want to be done. Or, what is this? What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? Let me identify it. What am I going to learn from it? Mm-hmm. It's another way you're going to learn. It just depends on how you learn, if that makes sense. So I mean,
what you take out of it.
You ever go through an experience and it sucks, and you're like, I don't ever want to go through that again. You don't feel like you learned anything from it, and then you go through it again because you didn't learn anything from it. Life will throw it right back at your face till you learn. Mm-hmm. Like, okay.
All right, got it.
You know, continuously keep having terrible boyfriends. They're terrible. But I'm gonna stay with I'm gonna stay with terrible boyfriends. Life's gonna keep throwing this stuff at you till you learn.
Right. Another cool thing to think about. So, in a story, a story is interesting. This is another Alan Watts thing. People like stories where the good guy is cornered, and the good guy, how is he gonna get out of this? You know, the bad guy's got him. Like, how is he going to get out of this? You know that somehow, the author or whatever is going to find a way to get him out of that situation, but it can't be too obvious. So, but how is that going to happen? And then he gets out and he makes it. And so think about that in life. You know, whenever you're in a hard situation, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. My gosh, like this is awful, you know? But the key is you got to hold on, because you are going to get out of it and you're going to learn something big out of it. And what's an interesting story if it doesn't have twists and turns like that? So think about your life as a story, because it is, you know, you have your own story that's uniquely yours. And it's just an interesting story. Like, man, this is a great story. Like, one day I'm going to be able to tell this story and it's going to be fantastic. Or like, how many of you guys have thought, man, if there's a TV show about my life, it would be a hit. I know I've thought that.
Yeah, absolutely, me too. Absolutely.
Because it's interesting. And so viewing it from that viewpoint, it takes a little bit of the weight off and a little bit of the pressure off from thinking, God, geez, this just sucks. Instead of being like, okay, you know, this is interesting.
It's all about your perceptional view. Perception is reality. Mm-hmm. And identifying who you are. I think that's all we got for today. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Fist bump me. Thank you guys for watching. If you have anything you want us to talk about, please let us know. If you like it, throw a like down. If you want to keep watching us, subscribe. And
Absolutely.
you're all beautiful people. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.